We are pulling back the glossy, heavily manufactured curtain on one of the most stunning television upsets of the entire decade, exposing the gritty, unspoken reality behind the confetti and the flashing cameras. Imagine stepping onto the absolute most intimidating stage in national television, standing under the blinding Hollywood lights, pulling in a completely staggering 26 million individual viewer votes, and entirely shattering network voting records overnight. That was the highly unprecedented reality for a humble physical education teacher who completely dominated the 23rd season of America's most famous singing competition franchise. He was absolutely not just another highly manufactured reality show champion churned out by a corporate machine. He was a historic vocal powerhouse who officially became the second African-American male winner in the show's extensive broadcast history. However, the notoriously ruthless commercial music industry has historically chewed up and aggressively spit out countless competition winners over the years, leaving them completely abandoned once the television cameras finally go dark. This deeply concerning trend leaves millions of highly dedicated fans desperately wondering exactly what happened to Jamal Roberts after the confetti was swept away and the massive recording contracts were allegedly signed. Did he inevitably fall victim to the highly documented reality television curse that has completely destroyed so many promising careers? Or did he secretly navigate the highly treacherous waters of the entertainment business to build a massive musical empire? The undeniable truth about his post-television life is incredibly inspiring, but to understand his massive triumph, we must first examine the deep, unseen struggles he desperately kept hidden from the mainstream public. Long before he was a highly recognizable household name commanding national headlines and trending across every major digital platform, Jamal was actively living a deeply grounded, incredibly normal everyday life, entirely far away from the blinding, superficial Hollywood lights. Our investigation takes us to the quiet, unassuming streets of Meridian, Mississippi, where he was a fiercely dedicated physical education coach actively working at Crestwood Elementary School. Completely outside of the noisy school gymnasium and the highly demanding schedule of a local educator, his entire world deeply revolved around being an incredibly devoted, highly present single father to 3 young girls. He frequently explicitly described being a father as the absolute greatest, most profoundly important thing that had ever happened to his life, constantly balancing his unconditional love and massive financial responsibility for his beautiful daughters with his deeply burning, highly undeniable passion for vocal performance. He grew up actively discovering his massive vocal talent through his deeply supportive grandparents, regularly singing in his local church choir, and finding immense spiritual refuge in the power of traditional gospel music. Despite his immense natural talent, he grew up heavily surrounded by the incredibly harsh, deeply unforgiving realities of economic struggle and community hardship in his local neighborhood. The intense psychological pressure of trying to actively provide a stable, highly secure environment for his children, while simultaneously harboring an impossible, massive global dream, would be enough to completely break an ordinary man. Yet, he made a highly conscious, incredibly brave decision early on to become a dedicated provider of immense hope for his community, rather than giving in to the heavy, suffocating despair that often traps incredibly talented individuals in small towns. But the complex, highly treacherous road to absolute national stardom was anything but an easy, paved path, and the television networks deliberately hid the most painful chapters of his professional journey. The highly stylized, heavily edited television narrative often desperately tries to sell the viewing public a completely flawless, highly manufactured overnight success story. But our intensive journalistic investigation reveals that Jamal's professional journey actually required a massive, completely unshakable level of personal resilience that borders on the superhuman. Most casual viewers, and even his most highly dedicated fans, have absolutely no idea that his highly celebrated 23rd season appearance was absolutely not his very first attempt at trying to aggressively break into the highly guarded commercial music industry. He had actually bravely auditioned for the highly intimidating, deeply heavily scrutinized singing competition on two completely separate, highly agonizing occasions prior to his massive network victory. During his highly devastating second brutal attempt in the cold, unforgiving audition room, the notoriously critical celebrity judging panel unexpectedly aggressively demanded to hear a completely different second song. Because he simply had not adequately prepared a secondary vocal arrangement, he froze and was actively handed a highly crushing, deeply public professional setback that would have easily completely permanently destroyed the artistic ambitions of a significantly weaker individual. Furthermore, our extensive background research confirms that prior to his massive network television dominance, he had already actively battled through the highly intense pressure cooker of reality television by successfully making it all the way to the highly coveted top 3 on the heavily watched gospel competition series, Sunday Best. This highly critical, deeply exhausting prior television experience aggressively, actively prepared his highly fragile nervous system for the incredibly massive, completely suffocating psychological pressure of the national broadcast stage. Instead of allowing these incredibly harsh, deeply painful industry rejections to permanently destroy his massive dreams, he brilliantly actively utilized the intense, deeply agonizing disappointment as highly combustible fuel to completely meticulously refine his vocal craft in absolute silence. When he confidently stepped back onto the massive, heavily illuminated broadcast stage for his ultimate redemption arc, our reporters noted that he completely successfully deployed a brilliantly calculated, highly sophisticated musical strategy, heavily designed to completely entirely avoid being unfairly pigeonholed into a single, highly restrictive vocal genre by manipulative corporate producers. He completely flawlessly, incredibly effortlessly transitioned from aggressively singing deeply soulful Rick James classics directly into highly emotional Jelly Roll anthems, and even completely successfully tackled highly demanding Carrie Underwood country ballads, leaving the celebrity judges absolutely entirely speechless. This massive, completely undeniable display of sheer vocal versatility completely aggressively forced the entire voting nation to pay absolute, undivided attention to his highly magnetic presence. His incredibly relentless, deeply exhausting professional hustle officially perfectly culminated on the highly historic night of May 18, 2025, when he officially, completely undeniably won the entire massive television competition, successfully actively defeating fellow highly talented finalists in a completely fiercely contested live broadcast battle. This was absolutely not just a standard, highly routine network television victory. He successfully actively pulled in a completely mind-blowing, highly staggering 26 million individual viewer votes. This completely unprecedented massive surge of highly dedicated public support completely set a massive, highly historic new voting record for the current network broadcast version of the massive reality show. Even more profoundly, he officially became the absolute first African-American male winner to successfully claim the highly coveted television crown, since the legendary Ruben Studdard originally completely dominated the highly watched broadcast over 2 decades prior. Winning the massive, highly publicized competition officially successfully secured him a highly lucrative, deeply life-changing massive cash prize, completely actively instantly transforming his family's entire financial trajectory overnight. However, the absolute real, highly terrifying industry test was just about to aggressively begin, as the massive, highly protective television bubble violently popped. The immediate, highly chaotic aftermath of a massive reality television victory is notoriously incredibly dangerous for highly vulnerable new artists. But our intensive tracking of his post-show career data proves that Jamal completely aggressively defied the terrible, highly documented industry odds that have ruined so many others. Following his massive, highly celebrated television victory, he quickly actively released a breathtaking, deeply profoundly emotional recorded cover of the highly acclaimed Tom Odell track titled Heal. This incredibly powerful, highly anticipated initial commercial release did not just casually softly enter the lower ranks of the industry streaming charts. It completely aggressively, violently skyrocketed directly to the absolute highly coveted #1 spot on the fiercely competitive Billboard Hot Gospel Songs chart. Highly respected industry critics and massive legions of dedicated global fans alike were absolutely completely mesmerized by his incredibly, uniquely warm, deeply heavily textured vocal delivery. He completely successfully, seamlessly transitioned his massive, highly manufactured television hype directly into highly legitimate, completely undeniable chart-topping commercial success, fiercely proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that he was entirely completely capable of actively navigating the fierce, highly cutthroat commercial music business. Moving aggressively into 2026, he officially successfully released a stunning, highly anticipated live vocal collaboration with the deeply respected Jonathan McReynolds titled Still. This highly complex, deeply moving musical track completely successfully captured the absolute undivided attention of the absolute most prestigious, highly guarded gatekeepers in the entire commercial music industry, officially securing him a massive, highly prestigious Grammy Award nomination. Going from actively working in a noisy local elementary school gymnasium in Mississippi directly to officially actively securing a highly coveted Grammy nomination in such a remarkably, incredibly short period of time is an absolutely terrifyingly rare, completely unprecedented industry achievement. He actively released deeply, highly personal, incredibly, profoundly emotional singles like Head Up, Perfect for Me, and the highly celebrated track Girl Dad, deeply cementing his fiercely authentic brand. Ultimately, the massive, highly intimidating television stage was absolutely never his final destination. It was simply the incredibly powerful launching pad for a fiercely devoted father, who entirely absolutely refused to ever completely give up on his incredibly beautiful, heavily undeniable vocal gift. This has been a special investigative report.